Second, billions of cells inside your body are communicating, not with words, not with thoughts, but through molecular signals. And amongst the most important of these signals are cytokines. So what are cytokines? These are small proteins released by cells that allow the immune system to coordinate its response to infection, injury and inflammation. Without cytokines, immune cells would function in isolation. There will be no coordination, no amplification, no regulation, and ultimately no effective immunity. However, cytokines are also dangerous. The same molecules that protect us from infection can also destroy healthy tissue, drive autoimmune disease, promote chronic inflammation, contribute to cancer progression, and in very severe cases, trigger catastrophic systemic immune reactions known as cytokine storms. So in modern science, cytokines sit at the centre of immunology, infectious disease, cancer biology, rheumatology and even neuroscience. So in this lecture, what we are going to do is examine cytokines properly. We will discuss what cytokines are, how they function, the major cytokine families, cytokine receptors and signaling pathways, pro-inflammatory and inflammatory cytokines, as well as cytokines and infection immunity, cytokine storms, and the role in disease, autoimmune disease and cancer biology, and how cytokines are targeted therapeutically in modern medicine. So this is not going to be a simplified overview, this is a detailed explanation of cytokine biology. So let's begin. So cytokines are small secreted proteins that function as intracellular signaling molecules. Their primary role is communication. They permit cells, particularly immune cells, to influence the behaviour of other cells. A cytokine which is released by one cell may activate another cell, suppress its activity, stimulate proliferation, induce differentiation, recruit cells to a site of infection, promote survival, induce apoptosis or alter gene expression. So the term cytokine is quite broad. It does not describe a single molecule, it rather refers to a large and diverse category of signaling proteins. So most cytokines are produced transiently. They are synthesized rapidly in response to stimuli which include infection, tissue damage, toxins, antigen recognition, inflammatory signals. So unlike classical endocrine hormones, cytokines are not usually produced by specialized glands. Instead, many different cell types can produce cytokines. So the cell types that can produce cytokines include macrophages, dendritic cells, T lymphocytes, B lymphocytes, neutrophils, endothelial cells, fibroblasts, epithelial cells, adipocytes, as well as neurons and glial cells. Cytokines generally act over short distances and short timescales. Their effects are often local. However, during severe inflammation or systemic infection, cytokines can enter the circulation in large quantities and produce body-wide physiological effects. So this is especially important in sepsis and cytokine storm syndromes. So cytokines are not stored in large quantities. They are mostly synthesized after cellular activation. So this is important because cytokine production must be tightly controlled. Even small dysregulations can produce severe pathology. So here's a useful way to think about this. Cytokines are the language of the immune system. Immune system cells do not operate independently. They operate as a coordinated network. And cytokines are the signaling molecules that make the coordination possible. So before discussing individual cytokines, we need to understand various principles. The first is pleiotropy. So pleiotropy means that a single cytokine can produce different effects on different cell types. So here's an example. IL-4, also known as interleukin-4. This can stimulate B cell differentiation while simultaneously influencing macrophage polarization and T cell helper differentiation. So that's the first principle, pleiotropy. The second principle is redundancy. Multiple cytokines can produce overlapping biological effects. So this redundancy is biologically useful. If one signaling pathway fails, another can compensate, but it also complicates therapy. Blocking a single cytokine may not completely suppress inflammation because related cytokines may continue signaling. The third principle is synergy. So some cytokines amplify each other's effects. For example, tumor necrosis factor alpha, also known as TNF alpha, and interferon gamma may induce far stronger inflammatory responses than either cytokine alone. And the final principle is antagonism. Certain cytokines oppose the actions of others. For instance, IL-10, also known as interleukin-10, This suppresses inflammatory cytokine production. The immune system therefore contains built-in regulatory mechanisms. Without regulation, inflammation would then become destructive. As well as this, cytokines can function through autocrine signaling, paracrine signaling, endocrine signaling. Autocrine signaling means the cytokine acts on the same cell that secreted it, whereas paracrine signaling means it acts on nearby cells. Endocrine signaling means the cytokine enters systemic circulation and affects distant tissues. Most cytokines primarily function through both autocrine and paracrine signaling. So cytokines can exert their effects by binding to specific cell surface receptors. These receptors initiate intracellular signaling cascades which alter gene expression. One of the most important signaling systems in cytokine biology is the JAK-STAT pathway. JAK stands for Janus kinase. STAT stands for signal transducer and activator of a transcription. So here is the general process of this pathway. Firstly, a cytokine binds to the receptor, and this causes receptor dimerization or conformational change. Associated JAK proteins become activated through phosphorylation. The activated JAKs then phosphorylate STAT proteins. STAT proteins dimerize and move into the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, STAT proteins regulate transcription of specific genes, and this pathway is fundamental to immune regulation. Also, as well, a key point to note is that many cytokines, especially interferons and interleukins, signal through the JAK-STAT pathway. This pathway is so clinically important that entire classes of drugs known as JAK inhibitors have been developed to suppress pathological cytokine signaling. Other cytokine signal through pathways involving NF-kappa B, MAP kinase pathways, PI3K AKT signaling, and SMAD proteins in the case of transforming growth factor beta. These signaling systems collectively determine inflammatory activity, cell survival, proliferation, apoptosis, metabolism, and differentiation. So, cytokines are classified into various functional groups. These include interleukins, interferons, tumour necrosis factors, chemokines, and colony stimuli factors. So we went over a few in this lecture. So we had IL-10, IL-4, interferons, as well, tumour necrosis factor, TNF-alpha. So let us examine each group now. So interleukins or cytokines are originally thought to mediate communication between leukocytes. Today we know their functions are much broader. There are a dozen of interleukins. Some are pro-inflammatory, others are anti-inflammatory, others regulate differentiation. A few important examples include interleukin 1. So IL-1 is a potent pro-inflammatory cytokine. It is produced primarily by activated macrophages. IL-1 induces fever, endothelial activation, leukocyte recruitment, and acute phase responses. IL-1 is one of the central mediators of inflammation. Looking at interleukin 6, this is critically important in acute inflammation. It stimulates production of acute phase proteins by the liver. It also influences B cell differentiation and T cell responses. Chronically elevated IL-6 is associated with rheumatoid arthritis, cardiovascular disease, obesity, cancer, chronic inflammatory states. Moving on to IL-10, which is anti-inflammatory. This suppresses macrophage activation and reduces inflammatory cytokine production. It is essential for preventing excessive immune-mediated tissue damage. Another one, also known as IL-17, is produced mainly by Th17 cells. This promotes neutrophilic inflammation and plays major roles in autoimmune disease. Excessive IL-17 activity contributes to conditions such as psoriasis and ankylosing spondylitis. Interferons, on the other hand, are critically important antiviral cytokines. There are three major types. Type 1 interferons include interferon alpha and interferon beta. So these are produced during viral infection. These induce antiviral states in neighbouring cells. This means infected or threatened cells begin expressing antiviral proteins that inhibit viral replication. Type 2 interferon consists mainly of interferon gamma. Interferon gamma is central to macrophage activation and cellular immunity. It is especially important in defence against intracellular pathogens such as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. which is responsible for TB. Interferons also increase antigen presentation by enhancing MHC expression. So, for those of you aware, there are two pathways, MHC class 1 and MHC class 2. This improves immune recognition of infected cells. So, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you.